Hello again, my subscribers. Today we are doing a Let's Read. Our story for today goes into the world of Middle-earth, and it is told from the point of view of Svetlana. I read this once upon a time, and my instant reaction was, oh my god, this is awful. But I decided to include it in my sequel to my Immortal. It'll explain itself. So, let's get into it. Strdier was along the woods, and then one day he found a girl unconscious and wrapped in spider webs. And then some giant spiders came, and then Strdier killed the spiders and stabbed them like a shish kebab. And then the spiders said, no! And then they died in an explosion of spiderness. And then Strdier frees the grill, and then she opens her eyes. She was wearing a beautiful pink dress, and she had shining blonde hair and sparkling iridescent blue eyes, and all around her shining sparkles with light. And then Strdier said, what is your name? And then she said, my name is Svetlana. And then Strdier said, hello, Svetlana, my name is Strdier. And then Strdier said, what are you doing here? And then Svetlana said, I don't remember anything before I was kidnapped and wrapped in spider webs by the spiders. I tried to kill them, but...
Is he all right?
I was cursed, so I lost my memory and my powers. And then she fainted, but Strdier caught her, and then Svetlana and Strdier went onto the horse and horse ride back to the castle where Strdier lived. A few hours later, Strdier gets up and then went into Svetlana's room. And then Strdier said, good morning. And then Svetlana said, also good morning. And then Svetlana looked out the window. Meanwhile, Gandalf and Legolas and Boromir was horse riding towards where Strdier lived. Then Strdier said, how's you? And then Legolas said, long time seen. And then Boromir said, who is she? She's so pretty. And then Strdier said, this is Svetlana. She is the princess. And then Gandalf said, anyway, we came to tell you there is a new evil that must be destroyed. There is an army of evil spiders and orcs taking over the universe. And then Svetlana gasped, and then Strdier said, I found Svetlana in the dark milkwood forest. She was captive of spiders. And then Gandalf said, she could be the lost princess. And then Strdier said, the lost princess? And then Gandalf said, there used to be a great kingdom. It was known as the Soviet Onion, but it was where is now Mondor. And then Svetlana's memory suddenly came back, and then she said, yes, I'm the princess of the Soviet Onion. Meanwhile, the Dark Lord was at Mondor and was planning to take the hobbits to Isengard, and some orcs came, and then the Dark Lord said, take the hobbits to Isengard, and then the boss of the orcs said, yes, we can. Meanwhile, Svetlana was in her room asleep, and suddenly she felt strangely cold, creeping as if the shadows were closing in the room. She could sense something, but she did not yet know what it was. It was like a dream. She could not know what is real or isn't, but she had the strange premonition she should find Strdier, and also avoid any bratwurst pineapples because they will inevitably explode. A few hours later, the orcs climbed through the window of the hobbit's room where Frodo and Sam and Merry and Pippin were sleeping. The guards were keeping an eye on the rooms. Meanwhile, the orcs grabbed the hobbits, and the guards went into the room and saw lots of orcs, and then Strdier came and said, where are the hobbits? And then the guards said, some orcs take them. And then Strdier tells Svetlana he have to go save the hobbits, and then Svetlana said, "No, I will also come. I know they're planning something, and also I can fight." And then Strdier said, "Okay." Meanwhile, the orcs were taking the hobbits to Isengard. A few hours later, Strdier and Svetlana and Legolas was horse riding to where the orcs were until they lose sight of them, and then only Legolas see them, and then he said, "They're taking the hobbits to Isengard." Meanwhile, the hobbits were at Isengard, and the orcs beat them for information. And then the Dark Lord came out of the darkness and said, "Where is the precious?" And then Sam said, "What precious?" And then the Dark Lord said, "The One Ring. We knows you has it." And then Frodo said, "We don't have it." And then the Dark Lord said, "Lies!" And then he said to the orcs, "Also, beat them some more, and also do whatever you want with them, except kill them. I will destroy them myself once I have the ring." They got to Isengard, and then the boss of the orcs came and seized Svetlana and said, "No, it can't be. The Dark Lord will know of this." And then Svetlana said, "Strdier, you and Legolas go find the hobbits. I will fight the boss of the orcs." And then Strdier said, "I will come back. I promise." Then the fight began. Some more orcs came, and there were thousands of them, and they had no chance of defeating them all. And then Strdier said, "I wish Gandalf and Boromir was here." And then they appeared out of nowhere, and then Gandalf said, "Some wished us here." And then they started to kill the orcs, but they were still hopeless outnumbered. Svetlana drew her sword and swung at the boss of the orcs. That blocked the attack, and suddenly Svetlana was overcome with the impulse to painfully destroy the boss of the orcs. And then her sword was illuminated with a strange blood-red glow, and the shadows around her moved like ghosts, wrapping around the boss of the orcs, and then the boss of the orcs said, "No!" And then Svetlana plunged her sword through the boss of the orcs, releasing a shockwave of red lightning that killed the rest of the orcs. And then a whale was suddenly called into existence far above them and crashed upon the remains of the boss of the orcs. The others found the hobbits, but it was too late. They had already been transformed into knitted dolls, and they had also been poisoned, and they were dying and throwing up yarn. Then Strdier said, "Why they do this to them?" And then an orc said, "They were not supposed to kidnap the hobbitses. This was the plan, for they take the princess." And then Strdier killed the orc and said, "When I was her age, they did the same thing to me." And then Gandalf said, "I can undo the spell and return them to normal later, but first we have to escape." A few hours later, on the way back to Rivendell, Svetlana fainted, and then Strdier took off his cape and put around her, and she leaned against him as they horse-rided. A few days later, Svetlana was outside at night, staring at the beautiful trees and stars and plants. The moonlight shined, illuminating her long silvery dress and the light blonde waves of her hair. Then Strdier came, and then Svetlana said, "Strdier," and then Strdier said, "Svetlana, you look so beautiful." And then Svetlana's face blushed softly, and then she said, "Why, thank you." Then she turned away forlornly, and neither of them speak for a few minutes. And then Svetlana said, "Strdier, there is something you have to know." And then Strdier said, "Oh no, what is it?" And then Svetlana said, "I have to destroy the Dark Lord. It's my destiny. So if I die, I wanted you to know."
Is he all right?
"I love you." And then Strdier said, "I love you too." And then they kissed. And then Svetlana said, "I am so happy." And then they kissed again. To be continued. And that's it in the world of Svetlana. Please come back again and we will continue into the realm of bad fan fiction. This time we're returning to a familiar world. But is it so familiar? Just wait and see. Thank you again for watching. Please subscribe today. I upload every Saturday, or at least try to. Hit the notification bell to get notified of more content. Like and favorite the video if you enjoy it. Share it around. Like the Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and Tumblr pages. Thank you again for watching. Please stay safe and healthy. And remember, it's chaos. Be kind.